Looking for Thursday Night Football game breakdown, injury analysis, and best bets? Well, my friends, you are in the right place. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. What is up, folks? I am your host, the DGen Doc. And hey, folks, happy Halloween. And look at the good old NFL rewarding us with not only some candy, but some good old-fashioned football. We've got the Houston Texans heading to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Football Jets. We have the 6-2 Houston Texans taking on the 2-6 New York Jets at home. And who do you think is favored in this game? Because on the outset, we would imagine that the team with the inverse, 4 more wins, 6-2 Houston Texans would be favored. Not the case, my friends. We have the Houston Texans catching 2 points on the road. Money line plus 110 on the Jets side. They have 2 points, they're -2, minus 130 on the money line. Look, folks, apologize for coming on a little bit late. Like to get a little bit closer to 6, but I was filling in for Billy over on the college bet side. That episode will be coming out actually tonight. So if you're interested in college football, check that out. But we'll be talking real football right now. And look, over-under sitting at 43. So as we always do, let's get right into the injuries, and then let's talk about how we see this game going down. So we got the Houston Texans. Both these teams a little bit banged up, some key starters out. So at least their injury report is pretty clear. Not a lot of guys who are questionable, probable, doubtful. It's either they're in or they're out, which makes our lives pretty easy. So you've got linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair missing his second straight game with the knee injury. Inside offensive, really their left guard, Jarrett Patterson, out with a concussion. Starting safety Jimmy Ward out with the groin injury he's been dealing with for several weeks. And the big ones, wide receiver Stephon Diggs out for the season with an ACL tear, and Nico Collins still on the IR with a hamstring. Quick update on Nico Collins. He is expected to be activated in Week 10. They play Detroit. That is as soon as he's able to. They're expecting him to be back. No setbacks. Obviously, we'll see how that progresses during the week when he gets back to practice. But no Diggs, no Collins for this matchup. They will be getting back cornerback Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia. He's been playing very well, so that's good for that secondary. And then linebacker Henry To'oTo'o. Obviously, that second or third year guy coming out of Alabama was with Tennessee, who's really been a stud for them in the middle, especially with Al-Shaair out. They just signed Devin White, who's been kind of tossed around after Devin White coming out of LSU was looking like he was going to be a stud in the league. Clearly has hit a wall, but he's now on the team, so we'll see if it's going to be him or Neville Hewitt who steps up for Al-Shaair's position. Over on the Jets side of the ball, they've also got a lot of key guys out. Starting linebacker and really captain that defense, linebacker CJ Mosley is going to be out this game. He's dealing with a bit of a scary neck injury to the point where he saw a specialist. And anytime you see a specialist get a second opinion, especially with something like a neck, that means it's not very cut and dry. Usually not good news. Did not practice. I'm hoping that we don't hear anything too season threatening, but I'm a little bit nervous for CJ Mosley, a guy who's been battling injuries all season, really. Now, at the safety spot, wide receiver is the big pain point for the Houston Texans. But for the New York Jets, it's the safety position. So, starting safety Chuck Clark already on the IR. And then backup safeties Ashton Davis and Tony Adams are both out in this game as well. So 3 safeties down for that Jets secondary. And then Al Lazard, Rodgers' kind of safety blanket, is out for a second straight game with a rib injury. And then Elijah Vera-Tucker, one of their best offensive linemen, their guard, is out. They do have one questionable, Morgan Moses. He's their starting right tackle. He has been limited practice all week, kind of dealing with that MCL sprain he picked up a couple weeks ago. Fatanu will be able to step in if he's not in there. So actually, that first round pick, I know he's a rookie out of Penn State, but he looks pretty good. So I think Elijah Vera-Tucker is the bigger loss here on the interior part of that offensive line. So really kind of some similarities. Both teams missing a stud linebacker, missing an interior offensive lineman, secondary, and some wide receivers. But they also get back some guys this week. Cornerback Michael Carter is going to be back this week, out, playing in the slot or outside or opposite side of Sauce Gardner. Aaron Rodgers, look, he's got a hamstring, knee, ribs. He's just old. He's going to play. He's going to be as immobile as ever, but hey, he's going to keep playing, running this thing into the ground. And then Quinton Williams, Hassan Reddick, good to go, although they were on the injury report earlier this week. So let's talk about how we see this game going down. Look, folks, this is absolutely a trap line. We talked about it last week. Why are the Vikings only favored by 2.5, 3 going up against a bad Rams team, right? It's like a little bit of that this week. Now, I was on the Rams last week. That came home for us. I don't feel comfortable. I really don't want to. Neither team is one I want to bet on right now. The Jets, it seems like no matter what they've gone out and got all the Infinity Stones. They've got everything. They've assembled all the Avengers, and they still can't put it together. Losing to the Patriots last week, how can I really bet money on this team? And meanwhile, Houston Texans, although they're winning, they don't look good at all, especially on offense. CJ Stroud, that sophomore slump is a true thing. It must be. And now he's down another stud wide receiver. I mean, CJ Stroud with Nico Collins is a different person. And then him and Stephon Diggs, as they were just developing that chemistry, you were thinking, okay, maybe they'll stem the tide here. And then boom, he's out for the season. I know Tank Dell's his guy, but is Tank Dell really a wide receiver one? And now we're relying on guys like Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, and John Mechie Jr. So, this game, honestly, I don't like a side. What I do like is a total. Now, I do like the under. I do like the under 43 here. I do think this is an ugly game. I think this gets back to some of these ugly Thursday night games. I think we see a lot of field goals tonight, not a ton of touchdowns. And this is a situation where it really could be where you have a Texans team 6-2. They're dealing with some injuries. They're kind of coming to this game a little bit sleepy. Maybe they coast in here and the Jets put it on them and get it done. So I like the under for a couple different reasons. When we talk about how I see this game going down, really both these pass defenses kind of lead these teams. I think both these defenses are ahead of the offenses as far as putting things together. I know the Jets and the Texans are dealing with some injuries, but it seems like they've been able to handle things a little bit better. The offensive line injuries worry me. Both Jarrett Patterson and Elijah Vera Tucker, and we'll see if Morgan Moses goes. Neither CJ Stroud or Aaron Rodgers are the most mobile quarterbacks. When they've had these offensive line issues, the offensives have kind of stalled out. And you got some two good pass defenses. The Houston Texans only giving up 164 yards per game and through the air. And then the Jets, to match them, only giving up 161. It's really on the ground where these teams are a little more susceptible. Houston giving up about 115 a game, and the Jets giving up about 125 a game. So I think the ground game is where these teams are going to try to get some things. I think we see a lot of running clocks and situations. Also, the sacks, when you look at the Houston Texans giving up 22 sacks on the year. Now, they've made 27 sacks themselves. That defense isn't opportunistic. Jets giving up 18, and they have 23 sacks. Obviously, they have Hassan Reddick to help boost those numbers. So let's get to the bets. I think this is an ugly game either way. I think it could be. What I see it is, I think it's a field goal game, or if a team's going to blow it out, I mean, it's weirdly as I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the Jets. It's just, I've thought the Jets, every time I think they're going to put it together, they don't. So that's why I am not taking a side on this one. I'm going to go with the under there. But, of course, I've got some player props, some of the things that I've already bet, the bets that I like for today. Aaron Rodgers, under 215.5 passing yards at plus 135. Couple reasons. I think that the Jets, they've talked about trying to implement some physicality. I think they're going to try to run the ball, whether it's with Breece Hall or with Braylon Allen. Everyone knows that when offensive linemen come in, it's a little bit easier to run block than it is to kind of set your feet and pass block as a unit. So I think they try to establish the run game. And I also think that this Houston secondary is fairly healthy, and they're pretty damn good. It's one of the best parts of their team with Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter coming back. You got Petrie in the back end. It's a solid secondary. I like that group. So, and even though you got Devontae Adams, you got Garrett Wilson, you still don't have Allen Lazard, who Aaron Rodgers really loves this year. And they've kind of struggled to put it together. Braylon, I also think, again, I talked about it, if there's a team that's going to be kind of out cruising up front, I do see it as the Jets, as weirdly as it sounds. And then kind of one that fits right along with that theme, Braylon Allen over 25.5 rushing yards at plus 130. I do think Breece Hall gets his. I think his number is a little bit too high. They haven't been a super efficient team rushing the ball. But I think when we talk about establishing that physicality, especially late in the game, I think Braylon Allen actually is going to be the guy. He's going to get some opportunity there, get some touches. Splits last week were pretty even. So I think if we see something close to that, he easily gets over this 25.5 number. On the Texans side of the ball, give me Dalton Schultz over 45.5 receiving yards at plus 125. No Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs. You got some wide receivers that have some potential, but do they really have the chemistry with Stroud? I think he needs some safety blanket over the middle. I like Schultz there over 45.5. I like the yards better than the receptions. His receptions sitting at 4.5. He really hasn't gotten over that number. I think that's a bit high. I think he can, 4 catches, 50, 60 yards is a good line for him. And then in the sack market, of course, we love defense. We're going to go with Quinnen Williams over a quarter of a sacks at plus 105. Talked about it. I was a bit surprised. The Texans giving up 22 sacks already. They're missing an interior offensive lineman. So Quinnen Williams is going to get to match up against the backup. One of the best tackles in the league. Not a matchup you want. And then give me to Nico Autry as a little bit of a sprinkle to get over a quarter of a sacks at plus 270. He served that 6-game suspension for his PEDs. He's got a couple games under his belt. I think this is a situation where, hey, we might get a beat-up Morgan Moses or a rookie right tackle. The right guard is already out in Elijah Vera-Tucker. I think both these pass rushes are able to get home. So I like to give the guys, a couple of those guys the plus money. I don't want to lay the juice with kind of the guys, the Will Andersons, the Danielle Hunters, the McDonald's, the guys that, everyone's going to be on. The other side I like in this matchup here is Tyler Conklin. I talked about Dalton Schultz. Give me the other tight end. Schultz, I think, is a fill-in for guys like Diggs and Nico Collins as target volume. Tyler Conklin's kind of that guy with Allen Lazard. Somewhere to work the middle of the field. You've got Garrett Wilson. You got Devontae Adams on the outside. They are going to get theirs. Again, Stingley Jr., Kamari Lassiter playing really well. But we've got Al-Sair out. If they throw Devin White out there, he's kind of been a mess. I like to think the middle field. So give me Tyler Conklin, 25-plus yards at plus 105. But what I really like is his anytime touchdown at plus 370. He scored a touchdown in the past 2 weeks. Again, no Lazard. Lazard leads the team with 5 touchdowns. Rodgers is going to be looking for somebody over the middle. He likes to utilize the tight end. Look, we hit Josh Oliver last week at plus 850, the first touchdown. If you took him on the first touchdown, you really had some nice payday. But we gave him out plus 850. That cashed. We're going back to another tight end. I know it's not National Tight End Day week, whatever you want to call it, but I just think that he fills that Allen Lazard role very well. So give me Tyler Conklin, anytime touchdown, plus 370. All right, folks, that is how I see this game going down. We shall see if I'm correct here on Halloween. So if you are tailing the bets tonight, best of luck to you. Also, I put out a Sunday episode. It comes out tomorrow. My favorite 6 best prop bets of the week. That all plus money, hint, hint. We've been hitting some of our long shots there. 4-2 last week, 5 out of the last 6 weeks of profit. So come join me there. That is going to be released on Friday. So check that out tomorrow. Other than that, folks, I hope you have a safe and happy Halloween. And from me here over on IDP Plus, I am out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.